Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I'm going to show you how I did this super fun summer inspired bling set of stilettos using Igel Beauty Powders. Okay, so this is my first time actually using the Kiara Sky Monomer, but I wanted to try it out and see if I could use it with another powder. These nail tips are standard stiletto nail tips that I got off Amazon. Nothing too special, super cheap. And as far as the powders, I will be using 3 different colors for Igel from Igel Beauty at first, but then you'll see I ended up just using 2 colors. And then I also have a sheer pink that's gonna double as a clear, and that's the glue that I use. I'll try to link it down below, but if you really want to know what the name of it is, I'll let you know in the description. So I'm just shaking up the powders because those powders marble like nobody's business, and I keep wanting to give them a try. They are difficult to use, so me shaking them, hopefully that'll work. I'm just showing you that I have a pop off set. So what that means is that I have a I won't be prepping. I have a base coat of actually a matte coat on top of my nails, so I can pop these right back off. Here's my size 16 brush. And I'm just going in initially with this clear acrylic. Like I said, it's a sheer pink, and I'm going to be using that to just line the base of my nail. Now with a normal set, I would have prepped the nail, used primer and all that stuff, and this clear acrylic just stops the nail bed from getting stained, especially because I'm going to be using some very bright colors, and also it gives you a smooth base to start with. So this is something I typically do when I'm doing like an ombre set, and that's kind of what this is. You'll notice with this set as I go on, the acrylic powder is going to be used kind of like a paint, almost like a polish. I won't be using it like how you normally put like one bead down and roll it down. No, we're going to be dipping and dapping and mixing colors until I get something that I kind of like. So okay, so here I am with the green, and I have the orange, and it's a hot pink. On camera I know it looks like maybe 2 oranges or maybe a dark red, but I do have a bright pink, a bright orange, and a bright green, basically neon colors. So I'm starting off with this green, and as you can see I'm just kind of putting a thin layer on at first. And this acrylic does marble, so you kind of have to play with it a little bit, and I knew that I was going to be putting on some layers. So yeah, that's just me putting on the first color. And like I said, I didn't want it to be one color, but when I got into this orange, honey, when I tell you, it reminded me of candy corn, and I was not going for that look. So I started off doing like what you would do for ombre, but I did not like it. So you'll see me leave this alone and then come back to it. So right now I just have the orange, and it looks like a green, but if I'm not mistaken, I do believe it's a bright yellow. But yeah, so whatever the color is, it still transitioned really well. I really love this set. But yeah, you'll see me keep dipping into this set. And what I want to mention is, like I said, Igel Beauty's, their acrylic powder is kind of difficult to work with, but I have a lot of it, so I really want to go ahead and try to use it up. And I've been using it with different powders, with different monomers to see how that goes. I usually use a brand called Nail Light, and that goes with almost any powder that I use, and I kind of ran out of that one, so I said let me try this Kiara Sky and see how that goes. Now I've never used Kiara Sky's liquid, but I have used their powder, and what I will say is that this powder is still a mess, honey. It still did not get any better. But if you are new to doing acrylics, sometimes just doing small pieces of acrylic will help you to lay your acrylic in a way that you can file it down and reshape it. And I'm just sitting here playing with it. The beauty of using color acrylic for me is that there is no right or wrong way to do it. I just like to play in it. I like to mix the colors. I like to let them bleed. I don't do a straight ombre unless I'm doing an ombre set. This was just kind of a mishmash, and it was exactly what I was going for. So here you'll see me working on the other nail, and there is no rhyme or reason to how I'm putting this on. I just keep playing with it until I get a color that I like, and this would work well with you want to use 2 colors, one light and one dark. and you can just see me putting it on there. Like I said, this is not your typical way of putting on acrylic. It's almost like a painting. So I'm just kind of mixing. I want to make sure that my colors blend throughout, because what I realized is I did not like that orange with that yellow, with that bright yellow, which, like I said, looks green on camera. I did not like it because it was giving very much candy corn, and that's not what I was going for. I was going for like more of a tropical vibe. So I kept playing with it, and I decided to just go ahead and use that pink with the you know what, now I'm looking at it, it might have been green, honey, I can't remember because I'm doing the voiceover. But either way, they blend and they came up with their own color. So once they blend it, they have that bright pink and then that green or that yellow, and then it blended into a beautiful orangish yellow. So you just see different colors going throughout. So yeah, that's what I'm doing here. And when you're doing this type of freehand with the acrylic and mixing it with the colors, you will find that your acrylic will be a little lumpy, but I'm going to go back over it with the clear acrylic in order to smooth everything out. This is just my base color, and when I use that clear acrylic, it just kind of seals everything in it. It just ensures, oh, I'm sorry if you guys can hear a motorcycle in the background, but it just ensures that I'm not drilling away what I've done. So yeah, I'm just putting on this green right now. Like I said, I don't know if it's green or yellow. It looks green on the camera, but I swear it was yellow when I started. But I love these IG colors. I just don't know exactly what monomer would be good for it, and I'm not sure about purchasing the monomer from Igel Beauty. With Igel Beauty, I do find that I have to use 2 brushes because the powder does get caked up. I don't know if any of you have used this powder and have any secrets to success for it. I mean, I use it and I make it do what it does because I'm a professional. However, I'm just so curious to see if anybody's been able to kind of master that acrylic. But yeah, so here I'm just blending it in. Like I said, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful colors. And yeah. So now, if anybody was wondering, my nail bed is not damaged or anything. I actually have a birthmark. Well, I have birthmarks throughout all my fingers. I actually have them on my toes as well. This is a family trait, so my fingernails do tend to look a little dark, and that's why I love acrylic, honey. I love acrylic because it covers all that, and I even have acrylic on my toes because it can camouflage the birthmark. But yeah, so this is just me playing around with this acrylic, and you'll notice that there's really not too much shape to the acrylic. I didn't even shape the sides because I'm doing the pop off method. I want to make sure that I can pop these nails right on off. So there was no shaping that happened here, but you know, typically when you put your stiletto tips on, you can shape it in order to not have to do too much shaping at the end. I just don't tend to do that unless I find that the tip is too wide for the nail. And like I said before in my other videos, you know, I'm just trying to find the right angle so that I can see and you guys can see. So hopefully this is coming out clear. Now here on this nail, I can't remember what happened, but I will tell you that using that Kiara Sky Monomer with the Igel Beauty, sometimes it got hard, sometimes it was runny. I just had to keep playing with it. I didn't know whether I wanted to dry it out or not, but what I do find is that by the time I get to the pinky nail, I can kind of figure out what the consistency is and how to kind of work with the nail. But let me tell you, luckily, you know, my clients know me, so if I do look a mess using this acrylic, they know that I'm gonna shape it up just fine. And you know, that's the one thing too, if you are a new nail tech and you come up with some lumpy acrylic or some weird looking acrylic, just go ahead and pile it on and just try to make this the surface as even as possible. You don't want to put too much on now because you're gonna have to take it off, but you want to just go ahead and try to make the surface as smooth as possible without caking too much acrylic on top of that nail. You just want to make sure that that last coat of acrylic that you do put on kind of smooths down the nail. That way you at least have some type of base to work with. So yeah, like I said, this is how my nails are looking right now. I love that transition between the colors. No one nail is the same, and that's exactly what I was going for. I didn't want to do a traditional ombre, and now honey, that thumb was giving me grief, so I had to go back to it. So I covered all that orange with the pink, and I know it kind of looks like a bright orange here, but I covered all of that with the bright pink, and then I transitioned with the yellow. Like I said, I like to mix and marble the colors, but this isn't a traditional marble. This is just kind of going in and shading and playing with the acrylic, almost like a paint. And you'll notice that I just keep dropping different size balls. And yeah, that's where I am. And woo, child, when I tell you them nails needed some help. So here I am going back in with my this is a light shade of pink. It's like a clear pink. It has a very subtle tint, and I actually love this. This is by Nail Light. I ran out of clear, so this is what I use, and it doesn't really show any color. So I'm just going over to smooth over the nail. Any lumps or bumps that I may have, I'm just going ahead and closing that in, you know, smoothing it out. I want to make sure I get around the cuticle area so that I still have a seal. I may have missed a spot or two because of the way I put the acrylic on in order to achieve this look. So I'm going to smooth it down the nail, and I'm going to make sure that everything is in that clear acrylic, because like I said, you still want to make sure that your nail is sealed. You still want to make sure that you have enough clear acrylic on there so that you're not digging into or filing into that color acrylic, because whatever pattern you have laid, you want it to stay. So yeah, I'm just like I said, applying that clear acrylic. And let me know when you do these sorts of nails, or have you even tried to do this sort of nail. It's kind of an ombre effect. I don't know that it's called ombre. I've never really given it a name. I just call it, you know, two-tone, three-tone, you know, depending on how many colors I put together. When you do this, do you use clear acrylic? What do you do? What is your experience with Igel Beauty, out of curiosity? Have you ever used it? Have you mastered it? As far as Kiara Sky, I do have the Dip and Dap powders. They're okay. Like I said, I've never bought the used them together, so I'm gonna be curious to see how they work well, if they work well together. So tell me your experience and what some of your favorite acrylic brands are. What is your favorite color acrylic? Because I really love color acrylic. Love playing with it. It allows us to be more creative, in my opinion, than polish. I do like playing with polish, but gel polish can run and do its thing, so you know you have to work with it quickly. So I love the freedom that the color acrylic gives me. Okay, so once I have my acrylic laid, I'm going to go ahead and start shaping the nail. I'm going to shape these into stilettos, and I'm using the 4 Pro Zebra 100 over 180 grit file. I get these off Amazon, and they do say washable, sanitizable. However, I do not reuse files on clients. I use a file and I give it to them. I don't store files, I don't keep files, and I don't suggest you do so, but if that's what you do, you know. But I give them their files, but I do reuse my files on myself over and over again. I will tell you, this is a quality file. I love it. I love that it has the rough side, which is the 100 grit, and I love that it has the super fine side. So I like to do the initial filing with the 100 grit side, and then I'll go back after I buff, or right before I buff, and use the 100 grit side just to get any of that, you know, residue that might be under the nail. Or you know, if you're using the drill to file under the nail, you know, sometimes you have that peeling, and I like to get under there with that. So yeah, I'm just filing the nail to perfection, honey. I want it to be sharp, 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 because what happens is with stilettos, when you're putting on as many gems as I'm getting ready to put on, you'll find that you will lose your shape. So even though you're moving the acrylic, not the acrylic, I'm sorry, that gel polish from underneath the nail by wiping it with your finger, you still want to maintain the shape by making sure that you're really, really sharp at first. So that's me just making it as sharp as I want to. For me, you know, everybody likes a different sharpness of their stilettos, and this is just how I'm comfortable doing my stilettos on myself. So, you know, some people might want to call it an almond, but honey, if it has a point, it is a stiletto. If I can stab you with this nail, I consider it a stiletto. So yeah, so I'm just filing the nail, and then once I'm finished filing the nail, I'm gonna go in with my I believe it's called a 5-way carbide bit, and I'm gonna go around the cuticles and clean them up. Okay, so now I had to bring out my dust, what is this called? A dust grabber? this dust collector, that's what it's called. It's called a dust collector. See, I knew what it was called. But anyway, I pulled out my dust collector because when I have to drill an excessive amount, I do like to have this on deck. I do sometimes wear a mask just to keep the dust down and out of my lungs. And because I knew that I was going to have to do a heck of a lot of filing with this acrylic, I wanted to go ahead and pull that out. And I like to concentrate with this bit around the cuticle area, around the edges of the nail, but specifically around the cuticle of the nail, in order to make sure that it is sealed and that any excess acrylic is removed from the cuticle area. I do go over the nail if there's like some lumps or some bumps that need to be smoothed out. When I do my filing for my nails, I like to look from the side, because the side will tell me if my nail has any lumps, bumps, and also will make sure that I have that arch that is very, I guess it's called the apex. Listen, forgive me, I'm just getting over a cold. So you want to make sure you have that apex. You want to make sure that nail is strong, and you want to make sure that it has enough acrylic where it matters. Where that nail meets the, where that tip meets the nail, you want to make sure that it's strong. And you still want to make sure that the nail has some shape to it. I do not like flat nails. I do not do flat nails. So my nails will always have a little bit of, you know, body to them. So yeah, I just like to go around and make sure that anything that is excessive is taken care of with this carbide, because that sanding bit will get hot. This carbide will slice into the acrylic like a knife, well, a hot knife on butter, right? So that's what I like to do. So you'll see me clean up and get very close to the cuticle and run over that nail and just make sure that everything is nice and smooth. You want to make sure that your cuticle is sealed as closely and as seamlessly as possible. Of course, I'm going to go back in with the sanding bit just to do a final sealing and to do a final smoothing. Because this carbide did such a great job, and because I was able to smooth out any of my lumps and bumps, all I'm going to do is go over it after I'm finished with this carbide. I'm going to go over it with a fine sanding bit, a fine sanding bit. And mine is purple, and for some reason I really love the sanding bit. You'll see it coming up in a little bit. I actually love it. I got it from Shein, and it is absolutely amazing. But yeah, the carbide is one of my favorite tools. I do keep a couple of them on hand, so they do last a long time even after you sanitize them and, you know, clean them out. So here is that purple sanding tool that I was telling you about. Like I said, I got this off of Shein, believe it or not. And you'll see me stop and pull out the bit just a little bit, because when the nail's a little bit longer, girl, let me dust y'all off. You see me dust y'all off. But anyway, you'll have to pull it out a little bit in order to have a little more control over that nail. It just gives you a little more flexibility when the nail is a little bit longer, and the longer the nail, more than likely the more you're going to have to pull out that bit. But yeah, whatever works for you. But that's just a tip. If you find that you're having issues trying to drill the nail with the bit, you may want to just pull it out just a little bit, and you might have a little more control over the bit. So here, like I said, I'm just sanding, smooth out anything, any rough edges, and then I'm going to go back in with my file. I think I am going to go back in with my buffer. Usually right after I sand, I go in with my buffer, or I go in with my file, just depending on what needs to be worked on. So yeah, just sit back and watch, and if you have any questions, put them down below and I'll be sure to answer them, and I'll come back in a minute. Hold on. So yeah, I'm just showing you guys what the nails are looking like before I am finished with the final filing, final buffering. They look good, honey. I really like them. I love that color now. You know, if I was going on a little trip, you know, I would have to wear these nails, but alas, they are pop-off nails. So here I am with my buffer, and this buffer I got off Shein. I do believe this is a 180 grit on both sides. It might be a 180, 160, but I really do love this buffer block. I do like the small ones, but this one I really love because it's no nonsense. It's a little stiff, but it does the job, and I use this on myself a couple times. Like I said, any buffers or anything that I use, if the client wants them, they can take them. Usually I just throw them away if the client does not want them, but this buffer block I really do like. And there I am. I'm going to dust as I go. But yeah, so it's very important to get a smooth surface, especially because I'm not going to add top coat before I add any of the rhinestones. I want to put it on the nail and make sure that it is able to stick. So I don't want to put any top coat, but I want to have a smooth surface. So I was just showing you that I was going over with the 180 just to do any fine refinements on the side of the nail, you know, just to make that shape crisp. So here I'm using the Marquardt glue, and I like to mix this with a top coat. But honey, when I tell you this glue was giving me the blues, I really needed to open it a little bit, but instead I wanted to embarrass myself up on the YouTube streets. So I just squeezed out a little bit on this little, what is this thing called? What these things called? But yeah, you see what I'm doing, and I'm putting a little top coat. This is a top coat that I actually do not like, but it's very thick and it works well with this glue. So instead of me just putting little dabs of glue, I like to just go ahead and run the top coat glue mixture down the nail. And this is my Play rhinestone set. This because I like to do nails on myself and on my daughter in order to, you know, give little ideas of sets that I would like to do. I like to keep a set of rhinestones on hand, and any like excess rhinestones I throw inside this little thing over here. So here I'm just placing rhinestones, just kind of placing them however I think they might fit. And the reason why I keep all this in, because you'll see me take off stones, put on stones, move around stones, knock off stones, change out stones. I wanted to keep this in because I think it's very important to let, you know, especially the new nail techs know that everyone is not perfect. Sometimes you will place stones, sometimes you will do nails, sometimes you will do things and you will have second thoughts about it, and it's okay to start over. So if you put these stones somewhere and you're not sure about them, take them off and start over. You know, just wipe them on off. And you know, I do that many times. A lot of times I do like to have an idea of what I want to do, but sometimes if your client comes in with an inspiration picture, it may not match their actual nail bed. It's almost like, you know, they come in with the hairstyle and they ain't got the hair to match the hairstyle, or you know, they come in with the makeup or the look that they want and it don't match. It's the same thing with nails. You know, we're not magicians, we're nail artists, nail techs. I am a licensed nail tech, so you know, we can only do what we can do. Here I'm doing a flash cure, and I do that always with the stones because they do tend to shift, and I only need about 10 seconds on there in order for the stones to just, you know, stay in place so I can move over to the next nail. And this is all trial and error, and that's why I like to do the nails on myself at home. And that's why I thought, you know, it would be interesting to share on my YouTube channel just my process and what I like to do when I have time off and, you know, I don't have a client, or just on free time, I do like to sit and play with, you know, the nails, and, you know, kind of get ideas. And I think practice makes perfect always. So here you'll see I'm just placing these stones until I get it to something that I like, you know. So I'll move them around. I play with placement a lot. And then if I do like the nails, I do take pictures of them for inspirational pictures throughout. So, you know, if a client comes in and they want to know what you can do, or you want to post them to Instagram, you can do that. Especially if you're into making content. Yeah, it's important to try to practice on yourself. If you don't have clients, this pop-off method is perfect. If you don't have a model, pop-off method is perfect for you to just do on yourself. Doing nails on yourself can sometimes be a little bit harder than working on a client. I find that it's harder for me to work on myself because getting the angle just right is a little difficult, but I'm able to do both hands, no problem. It just takes a little bit longer. Well, actually take a lot longer, but anywho. So yeah, I'm just playing with the stone placement, and I'll let you guys sit back and, you know, enjoy and watch me mess up, fix, go back and forth, and you'll see what the end result is, and I'll come back on if I have something else to say. And just in case you guys were wondering, these stones, the majority of them that I'm using come from either Shein or Amazon. I used to, back in the day, go to a nail place called Nail Light. That's where I bought a lot of my nail supplies, acrylic, all that stuff. It was a local place. It's still around, and I used to go there and buy my stones that way. But honey, since, you know, the internet is all over the place, you can just go on Shein and buy these stones. Now, the charms as well, they come off Shein. Even the little light thing comes off Shein. And that little glass thing that you see me using is from the Dollar Tree because I lose them all the time. But yeah, you don't have to spend tons of money, especially when you're practicing on yourself. Now, if you're into the Swarovski crystals, then those are specialty items. And of course, you charge based on what you spend, what you're using. So if you're using Shein crystals, I pray you're not charging Swarovski crystal prices. So yeah, I do like the charms off of Shein. I have not been disappointed, and it allows me to play with the stones and, you know, kind of interchange them and throw them out, clip them off, and do whatever I need to do without feeling too bad about spending the money and, you know, basically having disposable nails. Hey ladies and gents, we are almost done. So as you can see, you know, my little stones on my little nails. Only thing is, let me tell you, the pinky and the thumb on my hands give me hell. Every time it's time for me to put on a design, it's like I just cannot figure out what I want to do. So those nails are always the ones that I do last. The pinky, you know, it can be a little temperamental, but that thumb is going to, let me just forewarn you. The thumb is going to be an interesting sight. This is where I actually go back and forth. I know we're still on pink, but I'm talking about the thumb right now. When I get to the thumb, you're going to see me do a design, and I'm like, what the heck was I thinking? So I take the whole thing off and I start over. Now, if you're wondering what happens to the stones that have the gel and the glue on the bottom of them, they actually fall on this. There's a silicone mat that's under my hand, and they fall on there. And depending on how much gel or you know, whatever they have on them, I do tend to honey, I will spray them off with alcohol and put them right back inside my little crystal container right there and use them again, because like I said, this is my my container that I like to use on myself. So I don't mind making a mess or messing up, and I would suggest that you do the same. Have a practice kit for yourself, just like when you went to nail school, you had a practice kit that you can mess up. You know, you do your mom's nails, your dad's nails, whoever nails you was doing, honey, you have a little practice kit, and you know, you come back to it and you know, you mess up, and then you have your professional kit. So yeah, I reuse the gems, and if I take these off and I find that I can use them again, I reuse them on myself. No worries, no problems. I mean, who gonna get mad at me? I'm gonna get mad at myself. I know, look, I know how much I spent. I know where they came from because they was mine, okay? All right, so I'll be back. Okay, so here we are at the infamous thumb. So this thumb, you know, because for me it's an awkward position, you'll see that I'm gonna hold my nail a little weird on the paper, and it's just so that I can see what I'm doing and to make sure that everything is straight, because even though that this is a practice nail, I still want to get it as straight as possible, and I want to see what's gonna fit on here. Just because I'm practicing on myself does not mean that I'm gonna try to half, you know what I mean, half behind myself. So I'm sitting here playing with this, and what was I trying to do? Can somebody, what was this? Listen, that's why you have to grant yourself grace. Sometimes you mess up. You know, we all mess up. I don't know where I thought I was going with this. And there's a heart stone that I just want to use so bad. You see I use it on the pinky. I just felt the need that I want the heart and the stone, the heart and the moon stones. I love them so much, but I always find them difficult to use. So I think I just want to use it really bad here. So yeah, don't laugh, y'all. Don't laugh. And if you do laugh, just remember, you know, you're gonna mess up too one day, okay? At least I hope you don't. All right, so you're gonna see that I start all over again, and I try something completely different, and I end up using a charm. And I find that a lot of times charms are usually the best way to go, especially when you have a big board like a thumb. Okay, so yeah, I hope you sit back, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Once this thumb is done, as a matter of fact, I will apologize now because the camera did cut off in the middle of me trying to sort this out, and I'm gonna come back and show you what it looks like, and I'm gonna show you how the whole set came together. But yeah, guys, thank you guys always for, you know, coming, sitting down with me, chit chatting, you know, watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and you know, as I keep going, I hope that the quality of the video comes better. And oh, by the way, I meant to tell you guys that I do use the Beetles top coat to top coat, and I do try to get into the grooves with the top coat. I did also use a little bit more of that glue concoction to get into the charms and such, but I do like to use the Beetles top coat in order to top coat. Sometimes I do top coat over the stones. Actually, more times than not, I do top coat over the stones, and if there's any like excess, I do wipe that down. But yeah, I like to make sure that everything's on there. And like I said before, I don't know if I mentioned it in my last video, I do not like for the stones to get caught in anybody's hair, anybody's clothes or anything, and I want them to be secure. So I try to put as much top coat and, you know, glue on the nail as possible without it being bulky and nasty. And you know how it looks if you put too much of anything on there. And I'll go back over with a mixture of acetone and the monomer. I actually find that is a good mix for me. I don't just use the plain acetone because I find that it kind of strips the nail and sometimes leaves a white streak. But yeah, so anyway, back to what I was saying when I thought I was gonna leave y'all, honey. Thank you guys always for watching and coming and sitting with me, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Let's get to talking at the bottom. Did you ever use this acrylic, and what's your experience with it, and how do you like the Kiara Sky Monomer? What monomers do you use? Yeah, any suggestions, any tips and tricks for any newbies out there, or for any old heads like myself, let us know. And until the next video, guys, bye.